All right, so we're here in Fayetteville. The first few waves just went off. I'm racing the 35 plus today. 3 laps around the loop. Center line rule is in effect. Last year this race I got dropped at mile 10, so let's hope it's better than that today. Gonna go pick up a packet and get ready to race. So I'm here with race director James McCowan. James, tell me what makes Fayetteville such a great race.
Kind of the middle of nowhere, easy roads, not very much traffic, and very friendly folks that live in town.
All right, and this is one of 2 rides that Southwest does, right? You guys do Kate's Ride, which is your big fundraiser and charity event, and this is your race event, right?
That is correct.
So yeah, this is a great event. There's lots of Southwest volunteers here today. Hopefully we'll catch up with some of them, but thanks, James, for taking time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much.
Liz, this is your first race. How are you feeling?
A little nervous, but I'll do well.
All right, we'll check in with you after and see if that's still the case. Yeah. All right, we're about to race. It is windy. It's going to be hard. I'm going to hide behind all these guys and hopefully finish. Most of my post-race interview footage for this video was lost due to some hardware issues, so most of what I have for you today is just the race video itself. So I kind of want to talk through what happens in this race. It was a extremely windy day, and it's a fairly rolly, hilly course. All the morning waves I got to watch were shattered and blown apart pretty early, so I suspected that was going to happen in our race. And there's really 2 primary factors at play in this race. The first one is that we have 2 teams. We have my team, which is Northwest Cycling, and you can kind of see the kit there on the left side with Lewis. And then we have the Woodland Cycling Club, and you can kind of see one of their riders here on the left side of the screen. And most of what happens in this race was really going to be up to one of those 2 teams. I think they had 6 or 7 guys in the race, and we had 5 or 6. So out of the 32, 33, something like that, riders in the race, whichever one of those 2 teams was most organized and strongest was really going to be what dictated what was going to happen here. So I've skipped ahead, and we're almost 5 miles into the race at this point, and you can see up ahead the one punchy little hill that we had to hit each time on the loop, and that was definitely going to be what separated everyone, because we're into a super steady crosswind directly out of our left here. We're heading east, and the wind is coming out of the north. And so at the top of this climb is really where the action was going to happen, whether it was on the first lap, second lap, third lap, or all the laps, or some combination. I think everyone kind of knew that this is where the race was going to be fractured, is at the top of this climb. So as we hit the base of it here, I think I'm 4th wheel back, and I wanted to be toward the front because I had no idea how hard the group was going to hit this hill on the first go. And I certainly didn't want to get gapped into that wind 5 miles into this course. The race last year, I got dropped 10 miles in, and I was determined not to let that happen again. You can see already there's gaps just opening up. The front 2 guys go up the hill, and this kind of big gap opens up. That's a big gap. They're not going to run away and hide, but the field is going to get gapped out. And then if the front goes, it's done with. And you can see it's not a huge climb. I think we're up it in less than a minute. It's still going. It's hard to tell from the video here, but it's right around a minute or so on the actual climb. But look at this gap. Those 2 guys are up the road, and I'm working to get back to them. And we went from 32, 33 at the base of that climb to maybe 15 or 16 right here. Here you can see Dan get out in front, and those of us that are still chugging, or he looks back and sees what's going on, what the damage is, and Honestly, by the time we hit mile 7, we had less than half the field still with us in the lead group. By the time we were 12.5 miles in, so not even halfway through the first loop, we had narrowed it down to 11 riders, I think it was, in the lead group. Everything else had been fractured off. Woodlands Cycling had 3 riders up there, Scott, Al, and Mo, and Northwest had Dan, myself, and Aaron in the front group. So we each had 3, and the group kind of mellowed out. We were all kind of working together. We had a rotating pace line that we sort of got going, and everything was, it was difficult, but it was rolling smooth. No one was really attacking. Everyone was kind of waiting to see what happened. I mean, at that point, you know, not even one lap in, and we're down to basically 10 people out of 30. There's not a whole lot of need to attack the group at that point. But as we come around to the second loop, we've got to face that hill again. I just froze it here briefly too so that you can see me one last time before you say goodbye to me. And the reason is, here comes the second lap's run at this hill. And the 3 guys that the Woodlands has in this break are, you know, without exaggeration, quite a bit stronger than the 3 we have in this break. And the climb itself goes off probably a little bit slower than it did the first lap. You know, I'm not working real hard, and there Mo goes, but he's not going real hard yet. And now Scott's going, and there goes Al. So now it's a thing. They got 3 up there. John from Southwest is up there, and now they're going. So now I'm going. You can see Aaron going to my right. And it's definitely 3 that are up front going. You can see Dan going. I mean, I'm throwing down everything I have here. I think everybody is. And those guys are just smashing us right here. And we should have expected it. I should have expected it. I didn't. And I'm just going absolutely all in to try and get back to this. You know, there's a gap between the guy in front of me. That's Nick from Phenom. There's a gap between him and Russ up there, up the road. And then there's a gap between Russ and Dan and the front 3. And everyone's fighting, and you're going to see Ben Proco come up here and fortunately get us back. You know, you can see the gaps kind of holding steady. I'm throwing down literally everything I have right here. I set a 1-minute heart rate record right here. I set a 1-minute power record, I think, right here or close to it. And, I mean, the attack just has not let up yet. We're still in this crosswind. The gap is shrinking, it's shrinking, it's shrinking, and I am dying. And now it kind of looks like, you know, I've got my train back up, but you can't really see it. You can kind of see the lead car up there. We're not actually on. We're just almost back to the first gap. There's like 3 gaps between the front 3 and this gap. I'm right on Nick from Phenom's wheel. You can see Ben has kind of pulled us back up. It lets up for a second, and then wham, they just smash it again. And, you know, I'm not back yet. My heart's about to pop out of my chest. My legs aren't terribly on fire, but I am just in the red on heart rate. Look how hard Nick's throwing down right here, and I'm throwing down to stay on him. Everybody's throwing down. You can see Dan up there doing everything he can. His head's down, and then you can kind of see between Ben and the yellow and black, and look how far that lead group is up now. They've gapped us again, and Ben just throws down to get back up there. I mean, that guy is just a monster. And he does get back up there and ends up on the podium eventually as a result for closing that gap solo. Look at that. He just closes that gap on his own. And you can see I'm kind of letting Nick go, and Dan's kind of, I mean, we're all 3. We're off at this point. And I know it. I think Dan and Nick maybe don't know it just yet. I mean, you can see the gap up there, and they're still thinking they're going to catch back on. And I know I'm not going to. So I just kind of start easing back. I got to get the heart rate back down. I was at almost 190 beats a minute, which is pretty close to my max, and I was holding that for a good long while. So right now I'm sitting 9th overall with a lap to go, and I'm thinking, well, as long as I just catch one of these stragglers or 2 and we group up, we're definitely not going to catch that lead group of 3 that's pushing the pace, or 4, or whatever it ends up being. And they ended up attacking each other later on. I think the front 2 finished 8 minutes ahead of everyone else. So, I mean, it was definitely night and day between the winners and the rest of us. So this is really where my race ends functionally. I grouped up with Aaron from my team and Nick from Phenom. We formed a little 3-man. We all three had a top 10 basically guaranteed as long as we didn't get a mechanical or brutalize one another. So we just rode together and finished out the race just to make sure that if anyone was optimistic behind us that they weren't going to be able to catch us, and we weren't aggressive in pursuing any of the stragglers in front of us. I finished 10th overall, which, you know, I felt pretty good at the end of the race, other than my heart rate having been a little bit higher than I expected. Certainly an improvement from last year when I was the first person off the back super early in the race and rolled the whole thing myself. You can see I'm starting to do that here, but it feels a lot different when you're 10th in the race and you only lost to you know, just an incredible attack and some great team strategy from a good team. So Woodlands played this really well. I rode much better than I did last year. I'm really happy with it, and all things considered, it was actually a really good day for me.
Alright, I don't know how the sound is going to be here because I don't have a microphone, and I didn't really record as much as I wanted to after the race, but man, it was a tough field today. There were some great racers in the race. Woodland Cycling Club definitely controlled the race. They had some really strong racers. They ended up with 1st, 2nd, and 4th overall in the race. Well played to them. Congratulations to Al. I think I heard that was his first win in Masters 35 Plus, so congratulations to him and congratulations to their team as a whole. They really played it well today. So another top 10 finish, which on a day as windy and difficult as today, a top 10 finish in a field like that, yes please, I'll take that all day long. So man, it was a hard day of racing though. Really feel good about the result. Kind of sucked to race the last lap and a half without being in the lead group, but you know, that's racing. So experience has and fitness has definitely improved since I first began racing a year ago. And you know, the season is going well. Big picture season is going really well. I feel really good. I'm happy with today's result. I'm happy with the way the season is going. NWCC, you know, across all categories had a great day, so my team's doing well. Things are awesome. Next up, 2 weeks from now, we're headed up to Corsicana for my first ever stage race. So stay tuned for that. That should be interesting. In the meantime, thank you guys so much once again for watching. I really appreciate it. It really helps me to know that you know, when people come up to me and tell me that they enjoy these videos, that means a lot. I make them because I like them. It's always a little bit surprising to me to find out that other people enjoy them too. So I appreciate it. If you guys really like the videos, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.